Good afternoon and happy Sabbath. I'm not texting. I'm putting my timer on. I want to make sure I don't get in trouble today. I want to first thank Pastor Marks for allowing me to share this celebration moment from my life with my brothers and sisters here at this church. One day while a patrolman was on duty, he saw a car passing by. It was driving really, really slow. And he decided it was unsafe, so he decided he was going to go and stop the car, pull the car over. When he pulled the car over, he saw 4 little ladies inside the car, and he said to the driver, "Miss, didn't you know you were driving exceptionally slow on the highway?" And she said, "No, I didn't know, I'm driving the speed limit." And he said, "No, you were going 22 miles an hour. And she said, "22 miles an hour? Yes, that's the speed limit. The sign said 22 miles an hour. And he said, oh my. He looked at the sign, he looked at the ladies, pointed to the signs, and he said, "Miss, the sign says you're on Route 22. And she goes, "Oh, that's why." Then he looks in the car, he looked at the other 3 little ladies in the car, and they were all so scared looking, and they were trembling. And he asked the driver what happened to them. And she said, "We just came off the I-95. Some of you are going to get it. Some of you are going to get it. Sometimes we see signs in our life. We might be able to even read the signs, but we misunderstand the signs. I'm just going to share a little bit about how God put so many signs in my life, but I missed them, and that almost cost me my life. Please join me just for a quick prayer, and this won't be long. Thank you, Father God, for all you have done, for allowing me to live to see another day, for giving me this extra lease on life, and for all of those who prayed and lifted me up in all these different ways. I give you thanks. Amen. 2 Kings 5 tells the story of Naaman. His strength, his fighting skills. I'm going to just read this verse and the rest I'll paraphrase. Now Naaman, captain of the host, the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. While I will not fool myself to tell you all, anyone out there that I'm a Naaman, no, I'm not. But I'm a person that always considered myself self-sufficient. I didn't think I needed help from anybody in certain situations. I figured I could take care of everything myself. But like Naaman, I had a condition. From the age of 15, or about 17, I think, I had a liver problem, a major liver problem. But I dealt with it such a way that no one, except my mom, my wife, and not even my children until recently, knew about it. And we just kept it between ourselves. And I thought I was managing everything until the age of 50, which was not too long ago. I shouldn't even say, I should say the age of 18, but until the age of 50, about 3 years ago, my liver really started to fail me. My liver decided, it was just failing me. I had pains all over. Sometimes I actually showed Dr. Holston, I showed him that my joints, it caused other problems to happen in my body, and my joints were just coming out of whack. My brain was affected. Many things were affected. People who knew me knew that something was going on, but I tried my best to mask it. I tried my best to keep the pain to myself. If some of you who read the Sabbath school lesson understood what it means to be in certain situations, you try to cover it up and keep it inside. Well, anyway, as things went, verses 2 says, "And the Syrians had gone out in companies, and they captured a little maid. And when they captured this little maid, they took her away from her family and brought her into the house of Naaman. And when she went into the house of Naaman, she was the one that waited on his wife. But when she heard that Naaman was sick, she went to her mistress and told her of the way that her husband, Naaman, can be healed. And the mistress's family also went, and mistress's servants went and brought that message to Naaman." Now you think about it this way. If I was captured and my master, I'm hoping they treated her good, but if my master treated me in such a way that I was not happy, I probably would not have told him how to heal himself. But this little mistress, this little servant, her name was never mentioned in the Bible. I don't think she was ever mentioned again after this verse. After this verse, but she went and told her mistress that how to tell Naaman to be healed. Now, both of us are powerless against what was taking place in our body. My liver was failing itself, and as I said, I had major pain and major pain going on. Towards the end, I was in pain all the time. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't sit down. Believe it or not, I couldn't even lay down. It was so bad. I was in a state of pain and a state of discomfort for a long period of time. I even had to walk on crutches for a short period of time. And a cane. And I tell people this, I know COVID was a tough situation on most people, but even with the worst situation, God gave me a break because I know I would not have been able to go out to work the way that I did because I was able to work from home for a period of time. So it was just that God allowed this to happen to me during the roughest time of the earth's history, as far as we know it in this generation. Now, Naaman went along, he went to the king, he went and got permission to go and visit the prophet in Israel. And he went to the prophet in Israel, and when he went to the prophet, what happened he did not expect. The prophet came, instead of the prophet coming to see him, the prophet sent someone with instructions to tell him, go and follow those instructions. Now Naaman was not happy. Because it was not what he expected. He expected the prophet to come out and touch him and heal him. The same thing with me, and if you saw the lesson this morning, the same thing with me. When I went into the hospital the first time, I did not want what was to happen to me to happen. I wanted God to fix me my way. So I told him, no, I don't want any surgery, I don't want anything. I want to come out of this the way I had planned. But God had different plans for me. But it took a lot of convincing. When I saw the signs of my face showing you were dying, it took a lot of convincing to help me to see what was wrong. My health continued to go downhill. Fluid filled up in my abdomen. It stretched my internal organs. In fact, my niece and I used to make jokes that my stomach was so big that it looked like I was pregnant. And in this case, it really, really was bad. I had about 9 liters of fluid in my abdomen over the period of time. So you think everything that was in there, I'm not going to pretend that this is the most difficult thing that can happen to people, but it was serious. Everything that was in there was being crushed. I wanted to use the bathroom, I couldn't use the bathroom. Either way. I wanted to eat, I couldn't eat. So basically I was starving to death and I couldn't push anything out. So everything just stayed in me. And what took the most convincing for me, and just like with the little maid, she was able to convince her master through messengers that he was supposed to go to a certain direction to get himself healed. What was the most convincing period of my life was that little young lady over there, my granddaughter. Usually if I say, come and give grandpa a kiss, she'll come and give me a kiss on the cheek. If I said, if I come give grandpa a hug, she'll come and give me a hug. But this time, when I said, give grandpa a kiss, she held her nose and ran away and said, grandpa, you smelled. That broke my heart. Like the little maid telling something simple to Naaman, the words were powerful. Still, he had to go and find help from someone that he wasn't expecting to find help from. The same thing with me. I had to go find help, different from the help I had planned in life. But I was dying, and I didn't want to admit it. But my wife and my children and my mom convinced me to go and get another opinion, go back to the hospital once more. All this time, my family prayed. The people I played dominoes with, they prayed. The people that I worked with, my work family, they prayed. And I want to say something about the people that I work with. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I've never done anything wrong or I never had difficulties at work. I'll be a liar. But I want to tell you God blessed me, that I'm in a position at work that I'm blessed to be in that position. I'm blessed to be working with some individuals that are caring. I want to tell you that these individuals who God has put in my life, they came through for me. We're so many different, if you look at the screen, there's so many different cultures, so many different religions replaced there, and they all shared love for me. And I spoke about it before, and I'm not going to brag about everything they did, but they showed a lot of love. Some of them might be here, some of them might be online, but I wanted to say thank you to all of them that came through for me. And they showed gestures of love and prayer. My Pathfinder family, my Northeastern family, my AUC family, they prayed for me. They blessed me with constant reaching out in prayer. My childhood friends, some of them are here, some of them are watching online, they prayed for me. And when you have children that grew up together, met each other in college, that hung out together, when we could be doing other things bad, when they called you or you called and reached out to them and they were able to come on, they prayed. And I wanted to give God thanks for them. My Goshen Temple family prayed. They really rolled up and prayed. My mother's church, I don't know if she beat them to come out and pray, but they prayed night and day for me. And my Flatbush church family. Now, people, you're here, some of you are here for the first time. If you don't have a church home, this is the home to be in. I'll tell you why. When you're down, your members are there to lift you up in prayer. I wanted to say they are a tower of strength in my lowest time of my life. They prayed for me. But last but not least, my relatives prayed for me. My cousins, some of them are here. They came out and prayed. My brother and sisters. I have, some people know my one sister from my mom, but I have two others, brothers and sisters. I love them dearly. They prayed for me. My nieces and nephews, and I call them my in-laws. I call them and joke. I call them my outlaws. They're the best people to have at your side during fights or during anything. They're the best people to have at your side. If you want to, like I said, like my church, God has blessed many people in my lives. My beautiful nieces, all my favorite nieces and nephews, they all came out and they supported us. And I don't want to share too much more of what they did, but I'll tell you this. When God put people in your life and he blesses you, don't be foolish. Don't turn away the blessings. You give God thanks for all the blessings that you've received. These individuals came together in so many ways. I'm not going to share it all here. We're going to keep some things private. But it really, really came through. And our church family, I wanted to say, especially for those that gave the extra calls, I can't call the names because I'm going to leave some people out. But I know you know who, I've told you over and over, and I really appreciate it. My mother, Gardner, prayed. Now, if you want to have a prayer warrior on your side, you have a prayer warrior on your side. That's a mother. A mother's prayer is one of the strongest prayers to have. I want to tell you that she prayed. She prayed night. She prayed day. She had so many different prayer groups that she prayed with, and she came through for her son. And if you see the other person I'm not going to point out who it is. If you don't recognize it, that's on you. I told you I won't identify any Flatbush people because the other ones that I don't identify. Oh no, I got to call Chris. Chris called me every single day. Every day Chris called me. Sometimes I tried to have Chris call me every day. When I came out of surgery, I saw missed calls from Chris. I love that kid. Anyhow, my beloved children, we fight. I'm going to tell you this, we fight. They still can't take me. They had a chance. It's gone. I'm back. Thank God. They can't beat me, but we fight. But we still love each other. They prayed. Joel, Timothy, and Luke. My loving wife. I want to tell you this. If you don't choose the wife, if you don't allow God to make you choose a spouse wisely, you're going to make a big mistake. I'll tell you why. My wife, Valerie Gardner, she stayed beside me. I'm not going to share too much, but she stayed beside me when most wives might have left their husband. That period of life when I was 3 month, 4 month, actually she'll tell me 30 years, but that 3 month, 4 month period of life when I was at my worst, she was at my side and she was at her best. So I love her. I'm going to say it publicly. I love her. She was right. Now back to Naaman. 2 Kings 5 verse 14 reads that he went down and dipped himself in the river Jordan 7 times. I'm paraphrasing. And his flesh came again like he was healed. And he was clean. So Naaman dipped once. On Saturday, August 15, 2020, my family dragged me into the Mount Sinai Hospital emergency room. Naaman dipped twice. On Sunday, I was in the unit, and I was told that I needed a liver transplant. My 3 sons volunteered to give me my 3 sons volunteered to put themselves at risk to give me a chance at life. But the doctor told me no. I needed something more. They told me that I needed a full liver to survive. Now I want to tell you this. Nothing strikes, if you're here in this church, you know someone had to die for you to live. But when you know that another human had to die for you to live, that's the burden that you have to carry. And that's a good burden. I'll tell you why. I'm going to live up to that person's dream, the family's dream that they said, look, we're going to give you the gift of life through this liver of our child, our person, our husband, our brother. I don't know the man. I don't know if he's black, he's white, Democrat, or Republican. I have no clue. I don't care. I give God thanks. But you don't know what it's like when you have to. I tell you this. I'm going to segue a little bit. I was watching the news to see who might get shot, who might get in an accident, who might be able to give me a liver. That's how bad it was, and I was so depressed. I was so in such a bad place, and my mind was all messed up. But God came through. Now I got to be quick. My time ran out. On Naaman dipped the 3rd time, I was transferred to Manhattan and was placed on the transplant list. Naaman dipped the 4th time. I moved into a higher spot on the transplant list on Tuesday. Name and dip the 5th time. On Wednesday, I was offered a life-saving liver. Side note, regarding the bad liver, I'll tell you this. I got a liver of a 50-year-old person. The person was only 2 years younger than me when he died, or she died. And my mind was so messed up. My roommate, he's actually my exact same age. He was 52. Time's up. He was 52. And he said to me, he got a liver of a 39-year-old person. I was upset at God. I said, God, look at this. Look at this. I lived my life. I took care of my liver. But look at this. I lost it. I almost died. And you gave me a 50-year-old liver. And look at this guy. He took drugs. He took all these other things. And you gave him a 39-year-old liver. And then my wife actually helped me to come back to reality and some other people. They showed me that, look, God gave you this liver because he knew that you can take care of the liver you have. And this liver has been good to me. And if I tell people, I tell my friend, my good friend here, that the pain I used to have is all gone. The jaundice, everything is all gone because this liver has been blessing me. All the things that used to be affecting me, my cholesterol, I had high cholesterol all my life. My cholesterol, all gone. So God is really blessing me. I wanted to say, name and dip the 6th time. And on Friday, we prayed. All the people I told you prayed. Elder Evans, and I got to say this, I said I wasn't going to call her name. She came and she dedicated me. Not dedicated me, sorry. She anointed me. And Brother Jerry Charles, one of our brothers, he came and he introduced me to the doctor, let me feel more at ease. Now, Naaman was fully restored. On Saturday morning, I woke up to the beautiful eyes of my wife. My whole life-saving experience was a miracle. All because the people around me prayed. The people around me came through the way God put them in life to come through. Naaman, I wanted to say, your life, even when you deal with a healing experience, your life is not completely at perfect. Because if you know me, you know that things still happen after that. You know things still happen. The devil, if they can't get you directly, they get those in your family. They get other things around you. So I wanted to say, don't give up on me. I won't give up on God, and he won't give up on me. And the same thing for you. If God helps you through a situation, don't think that because of that situation, you are now completely healed. You don't have to ever do things again. I had to take 13 meds, 13 different types of medication, added up to about 20 different pills every day for a couple of months. Now God has blessed me. I'm down to a handful, and I have been blessed. I wanted to say, just overall, I want to give thanks to God. I wanted to say, if he can work with someone like me, and I did nothing to deserve it, not because I died, and I'm sorry, not because I didn't die, don't mean that those who died before, or those who died during that time are any less deserving of God's grace. I wanted to say, because I from September last year to now, I lost 6 people in my family. I lost 2 cousins, both of them named Andrea, to be honest. I lost a stepbrother. I lost a brother-in-law. I lost 3 uncles. It was a rough year from last year to now, but God saved me. For some reason, I don't know. But if anyone want to find out how I'm doing, I'm going to say this as the words of a country song. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Thank you very much. God has blessed me. May he continue to bless me. Amen.